Hey everyone, let's make some whole grain mustard. I make this every year. I actually make it with dill instead of thyme. I've made it with thyme, but anyway. And I tend to put it in gift baskets with like jelly, pretzels, pickles, a bunch of different homemade items, and they're just cozy. And the recipe's pretty simple. It does take a couple days to set, but once you've done that, you're good to go. So I'm gonna go over so you can screenshot the ingredients and the directions. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna do the first three. Now I got my mustard seeds from an Indian supermarket. It was great. I bought a thing of yellow, a thing of brown, and then just mixed them. And I think total, this cost me maybe $5. And as you can tell, I've already made a batch of mustard with this last year. What's nice about this recipe, not only is it easy, but it's a blank canvas that you can add a bunch of different flavoring to. And this is going to expand as those mustard seeds absorb all that water. So see you in a couple hours. Okay, this is what it looks like after 3 hours. So not much different, but you can tell not only did it expand, but now the mustard seeds are a little bit softer as they've absorbed some of that water. So we're gonna rinse it and transfer it into a food processor. Then we add the dry mustard powder. Then we're gonna add the sugar as well. I'm gonna use brown sugar because it also has this like molasses flavor, and it's just gonna add another layer into our mustard. And this is where I'm gonna go off script a little bit. I'm gonna actually pulse this first and then stream in the cider, almost like I was making a pesto instead of dumping everything together and then blending it at once. This is what we're looking like so far. Not too bad. It's definitely starting to get creamy on the side. I'm gonna scrape it down and continue to pulse until it is a, well, nicer texture than what it looks like. Also, this is where it starts to really smell like mustard. So if you're sensitive to that smell, you might want to open a window when you're doing this. Okay, I'm happy with this texture. So you can see it is a little bit creamy, but we still have the whole grain in there because remember, this is a whole grain mustard. It's not supposed to be like paste smooth. So I'm going to transfer it to a glass jar and then add my dill because I want this to be a dill mustard. Okay, we're looking pretty good. We have the dill in there. I'm gonna wrap this up and I'll see you in 3 days for the final step. Okay, and after 3 days, our mustard looks like this. It looks pretty much exactly the same, but when you take this cover off, it's not going to be as pungent as much as that like mustard straight to your face. So last steps, and you're not gonna love this, I'm so sorry, but you take the mustard, spoon it into your containers in the fridge for 3 weeks. As it develops over those 3 weeks, it's gonna become it's gonna extract some of that flavor. It's gonna slow down any of that bubbling that you saw and really become a mustard. Now, I've given these before the 3 weeks and it's totally been fine. That is definitely going to be up to you. But yeah, that is it. It's super hands off for the mustard. It's just kind of waiting. Now, Ball recommends putting it in a 1/2 pint container. I like these little almost like jelly jars because I think it's a nice like presentation, but that's totally up to you. What size container. I guess you can even go smaller than this if you only want to give like a bite of mustard to somebody. Just gonna put the lid on. Again, this is not canned, so it's not inherently like shelf stable. We do want to put this in the fridge, but that's it. Whole grain, homemade mustard. I think again, these are great gifts. And I do want to emphasize again, I understand that the upfront cost is not cheaper than just buying whole grain mustard, but it's a homemade gift. I think this tastes a million times better. And again, if you pair this with like a jelly and some pretzels or other items, it makes a great gift basket. So thanks everyone for following along. I'll keep you updated. Talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.